Good morning, REMAX, and welcome to the Social Media Boot Camp. Today we'll be talking about Google+. It is one of the more looked over social media platforms. A lot of people aren't really sure what it's for. I would say if we got all the REMAX agents together and said, hey, how many of you are using Google+ on a regular basis? I would have to guess maybe like no one would probably raise their hand. But if a couple of people did, even then I would bet that they don't engage on it regularly. And that's okay. A big thing that Google+ is important for you or your business, the reason why, is because Google recognizes it immediately in terms of search rank. It helps with your SEO. It helps with inbound links from an external source to your website to help your website get a higher search rank. And posts that you post on Google+ will even show up in search rank. And Google recognizes those posts immediately. As opposed to, right, let's say you post something on Facebook and, like a little article or something you wrote or like a link to your blog, right? Google's not going to recognize that immediately. It could take a couple weeks, few weeks, right, for it to recognize and then eventually show up on a Google search rank. But with Google+, we're talking like immediate recognition. There are a few little tricks that we can do for each of our posts so that when it shows up in a Google search rank, your picture will show up next to it. That's called authorship. And the way that you do that is we add sources into your Google+ profile. Like, for example, I will show you here in just a minute, actually, how to create authorship. I'll show you in just a minute. Another thing is going to be, how often do we post to Google+? How do we set up our profile correctly? Where do we add all the links in and out? How do we get followers on Google+? That is obviously the biggest thing that we need to accomplish, right, at some point. So let's go ahead and just dive right into Google+. All right. How do we get a Google+ profile? It's linked directly to your Gmail account. If you don't have a Gmail account, get one immediately. You should by now have a Gmail account regardless. Even if you have, agent at, isellhomesandSCV.com as your email address, you should still have a Gmail account in which that forwards to. So if you need to ask maybe someone about that tech-wise, please do. All right, so let's go ahead and just jump right into where is Google+. Well, if we go up into the right-hand corner here, this email address is strictly for real estate, for you REMAX guys. So I have this Google account strictly for just letting people know about the social media boot camp and then like sending out social media tips to all the agents, right? That's what this Gmail is for. But so thus, my Google+ is not going to be really set up, which is fantastic. So now we can walk through it together. So we're going to go up in the right-hand corner here. It's going to say plus your name or plus whatever at gmail.com, right? And we're going to go ahead and click on that. Pops you right into your Google+. What do we see here immediately? Just like all other social platforms we see are our news feed. So this is anything that, someone that is in my circles, we call it, instead of friends, we call it circles on, well, not technically, but what we have here is just on Google+, they categorize your friends into different circles, which we'll talk about shortly. So first page, we have stuff on Google, right? Friends or friends of friends are going to show up here, any post that they post. If I go into just friends, this is just friends posts. If I go into family, it's going to have family stuff, acquaintances, right? So these are different circles: friends, family, acquaintances, other things like that. You can change the way your stream is laid out. So if you want a regular like Facebook style stream, it's going to be this up and down one. If you want just like a mashup kind of masonry style, that's going to be this guy right here. Mentions, anyone that mentioned me in a post. So like Kenny did a great social media boot camp today. At Kenny Bost did a great social, right? So that's a tag, right? So at Kenny Bost would be a mention that would show up. Explore is kind of, you can just search around Google. So where's our menu in Google+? It's all the way over here to the left. We've got home. I've got my profile. I've got people. This is where we're going to go to get followers, right? Photos, anything that I've posted. We've got collections, communities, events. If you're trying to post an event on Google+. So when I do like an on-air Hangout, which is what we're doing right now. I see there's a Hangout thing here, but as well, it will show up in events. So I've got quite a few events on this profile, right? Because we are well into the social media bootcamp at this time, but they will show up in events. So if you're doing like there's all sorts of ways you can utilize events. And I would Google how to use events as a real estate agent, and see if maybe there's anything that might possibly help you guys directly with that. But our main thing here is we're trying to get search rank built up for your personal website, as well as having your profile on Google Plus be really fully done, fully complete, have everything on there, have your website, have your email, have consistent good photos, consistent good posts, many of which are, anytime we post to Facebook, we're going to post to Google Plus through Hootsuite. And what is Hootsuite again? It's the scheduler program that we went over a couple weeks ago. We talked about how to schedule social media posts and how to schedule them to different social media profiles at one time. So when you're posting to Facebook, I would almost every time post to Google Plus. Why? Because they're similar social media platforms. I wouldn't post to Facebook the same thing I would post to Twitter, though. And I would not post to Facebook the same things I would post to LinkedIn, because LinkedIn, I'm trying to stay on the more business sense of things, side of things. If on Twitter, it's shorter verbiage, so it's not going to sound the same. If I may post the same idea or link to a post from Facebook as I do to Twitter, but it'll be worded completely differently, so it won't be scheduled the same. So we talked about that in scheduling. But I would say on Facebook and Twitter, much of the posts are very, very similar. There's a lot of availability for how much text you want to write, okay? And you can post videos, you can post pictures, and they show up generally like on Facebook, right? So this looks super similar to Facebook. In fact, why don't we just check this out? Bam. Now it looks almost just like Facebook if we have the style like this. So let's jump right into editing our profile. We're in Google Plus right now. How do we edit our profile? You go to the top left-hand corner here and you click on profile. Okay. Here's my profile. Got a bunch of social media boot camps and a couple other things. Got some suggestions for adding friends, more suggestions for adding friends, and we talk about location here. I'm going to add that as well. So let's just dive right into editing the profile properly. Right here, you're going to click on this little camera, and you will upload a photo from your computer. That one, super straightforward. And then if you want to change the name, you actually just hover over your name and change it here. So if you have like a nickname as your Gmail, you want to change it to your official name. You want one Google Plus profile. Why? Because when someone searches your name on Google, like this is going to show up. It's going to show up immediately. And we want it to be set up correctly and be as business professional as possible. So we want it to be full name. If you have other Gmail accounts and you need to change the names of those and remove the pictures from them, and just make sure that you just have one Google Plus profile. Okay. You can even delete it if you need to. Let's go into change cover. Change cover. What does this do? Well, it makes just our profile look nice and pretty. Right here, this area, if I want this to be, like the REMAX building on the old road, right? So I would get a picture of that and then put that here. Or let's say I want it to be maybe just like an overview of some houses from Santa Clarita. We do that. How do we do that? We'll just jump into here. We go to Google. We go to, let's just, Santa Clarita. Let's see, homes. Why don't we just search Santa Clarita and see what shows up? I wouldn't totally suggest grabbing other people's photos, because that's what we're basically doing here. But if it's something that's like clearly posted by a source that like wouldn't mind, like welcome to Santa Clarita, you know what? I don't think they're gonna get mad if I make this my Google Plus thing, right? So let's just go ahead and we'll call it wallpaper. Save that image. Right click, save image as. Okay, then we're gonna go back over to Google Plus. Hit change cover, and in here we're gonna go to upload, select a thing. Let's go desktop, wallpaper, open, load that guy up, choose the area that we want it to be. Well, I kind of just like maybe like that, set my cover photo. And I have a nice little cover background, right? For Santa Clarita. And I got my name correct. I've got an image of, you want this to be your headshot. Just to make sure that you guys know that. This is not meant to be, if you want it to be a logo or something, I guess, but no. You really want it to be your headshot. All right, let's go into the about and just start filling in all our information for ourselves, right? Everything in here needs to be filled out, 100%. Occupation. How do we fill out each of these? We go into the edit section in the bottom left-hand corner. So like when you're just hovering over it, can't click on it, right? But if you click edit in this bottom left corner, here, right here, right? So why don't we do what Dave calls me? I'll copy this social media liaison at, why don't we just go social media liaison, skills, social media, digital marketing, something like that, etc., etc. Employer name, REMAX, job description, right? Or job title, I'm sorry. So you fill all this information out in here. I would, as an agent, not do anything with past employment. Just do your employment here. Might even be able to get away without putting a start and end date. In fact, let's just go ahead and hit save and see what happens. Boom, done. Unnecessary, don't need to add start and end date. There we've got that filled out. Basic information, birthday. We don't need to add in who I'm looking for. You don't need to add in a relationship. Please do not add either of those, in fact. Other names, if you have a maiden name or something like that and you want to add that in here, go ahead. That's only just going to help other people from your past find you on Google+. So that's up to you if that's something that you want to do. Tagline, that's self-explanatory. Also, again, right, edit is in the bottom left-hand corner here. So tagline, a little introduction. So what I would do here is like, you know, it depends. Let's see. We get your house sold in under 30 days, you know, consistently, something like that. Or best team in SCV, or help, I don't know, something like that, right? Whatever the tagline is for your either personal business or team. Introduction, self-explanatory. Bragging rights, right? You can add anything in here, like, you know, I don't know, top 10 at REMAX, or you know, so over so many commissions. I don't know, maybe not commissions, but something to that effect. Any like awards you've had or anything like that. Education, self-explanatory. We're going to add that in there. Contact information. Let's talk a little bit about contact information. I would just straight up make this probably your office line, okay? And then this your off. I would just only add office lines and maybe separate extensions, or you can make this the REMAX front desk and your office line. But I would want most calls, right, that are going to me to come to me. So maybe just office line in here. Then we go into places, hit edit. You just go ahead and type in, let's do Santa Clarita, current, save. Boom. All right. So you can get a URL that's like, as opposed to, right, like, what does my URL look like right now? As a link to my profile. That's what this is talking about, Google Plus URL. I have this long-winded URL. If I want it to be shortened to like googleplus.com/Kenny Bost, you can get that pre-approved. You click on here and follow the directions within that. Other profiles. This all, I would 100%, you got to fill this out. So other profiles, right? What are we doing in other profiles? We're going to add each of our other ones. So www.Facebook profiles, social media profiles, by the way. That's what they're mentioning here. So facebook.com/ whatever Facebook you want them to go to, right? Your personal profile, your business profile, both. I would say both. So facebook.com/ you know, Kenny agent. This goes into the URL slot. I apologize. This goes into here. In the top, it's just a label. You can call it Facebook personal, right? Or just call it Facebook. Hit save. And then, look, it shows up as just Facebook for other people. And then you can do, Or you know what? You could just do this. Check it. Let's do this. Oops. Hold on, guys. Technical difficulty here. There we go. I would call it Facebook. I'd put like a tall bar, and then I'd put my name. And then here I would do, www.facebook.com/Kenny real estate SCV, right? And then I would call this Facebook real estate SCV, maybe something like that. So that kind of signifies between the both. Instagram.com, right? So for your Instagram profile, /Kenny. Once again, I'm messing this up. This goes into URL. This top part's label. You just want to call it Instagram. You just want to add all your profiles in here. Keep going through them, right? So you got Pinterest. You got, let's see, Twitter. LinkedIn. And then you just go Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V. I'm copying and pasting and speaking out loud. Okay, so hit save. And then go back into, well, I don't know how I got over there. Look, now I've got all these little guys here. If these URLs are plugged in correctly, a correct icon will show up. Look, even an icon for my website shows up. They pull that off of, actually what that is it's called a favicon. If you ever have a bunch of tabs open in your web browser, there's a little icon there. That's called a favicon. And then, so that's where that icon's being pulled from. So when you plug in a URL for Pinterest.com or Twitter.com or LinkedIn.com, it just pulls that little icon out, gives you a nice little, a nice looking, like a section for this links area. And then links for what pages interest you. That's something that if you want to add in, you go ahead and feel free to add in. I want to talk a little bit about authorship. What is authorship on Google+? Basically, when you're posting any content online, you can link back to your Google+ profile, and that starts creating authorship. So if any of your content shows up in a Google search, you'll have a picture right next to the content, and it will also help build SEO for the pages that you're working with in terms of where you're posting content. So let's go ahead and show how that's done, right? Well, either we take the URL from the top of our web browser, which I don't know if you guys can see on the Hangout. Let me just double check if you can see. I think you can just see my screen. But anyway, in the URL bar, right at the top of your web browser, if you just go to cancel. If you just go to if you just click on profile right here in the far left, hit home. Let's hit home, and then let's hit profile. Bam. So you're gonna have a URL at the top of the page right now. This is your the URL that you'd like to use. Or even better is if we go back into about, and then if we get a pre-approved URL, so google.com/. If you're really going to the lengths of like utilizing putting a Google+ link in after all the content you post online, which would be a great idea, I would make sure that you try and get a pre-approved URL. So this would end up being what you would post, right? This little guy. You would just copy that, and you would just go, you would add in a little link into your all your content you post online. And in fact, why don't I just give you guys a quick little example of what that might look like. Let's see. Bang. So check this out, right? Link from your content to your Google+ profile. So let's say you write something online and you go, Kenny Bost is a social media director, co-founder of Makeover Social. And then in that, I have a little link to my Google+ profile. That is basically what we're talking about. That helps you start building authorship. And then the other thing that we've already done is link from your Google Plus profile to your content. Maybe we did skip over this. Let's go back. I did this before. I think I got in with you guys just to be sure on the class. But so contributor 2. This is the other part of creating authorship. Number 1, you put the link of your Google Plus profile into all the content you write. Number 2, contributor 2. Well, what am I a contributor to? Makeoversocial.com. I'm sorry. This is actually messed up. Hit edit. Scroll down. What this should say, like we just went over, is we just go into Facebook, toolbar, makeover, social, hit save. There we go. So I've got my Facebook, I'm a contributor to that. I got my YouTube, contributor to that, and I'm makeoversocial.com. I do a blog on there as well, so I'm a contributor to that. And then whenever I write a blog or whenever I post a post on YouTube, I have a link back to my Google Plus profile. But post a post on Facebook at the way bottom, like maybe near where the hashtags are that I'm posting, I have a link to my Google Plus profile. On my makeoversocial.com, whenever I post a blog post, I have a link back to my Google Plus profile. So this starts creating like this circle of trust between, you know, what you're contributing to and Google. And Google's immediately recognizing all the information that you have on your Google Plus page or all the inbound links that are coming into your Google Plus page and pushing that page up further on the search rank, as well as pushing this content up further on the search rank. Okay, let's go ahead and get some friends. We'll jump right into that. That's going to be our next thing. All right, so over here on the left-hand side, do that one more time. Over here on the left-hand side, go down to people, click on people. Got a few different things here at the top. We got find people, people that have me in different circles, right? My circles and discover. Let's go into my circles real quick, right? I have friends, family, acquaintances, and following. Now remember that this Google account is strictly for me to email you guys about Social Media Bootcamp. This is my personal one. So thus I have 0 family, 0 acquaintances, and 0 I'm following 0. But if maybe you're just setting up Google, this is probably how you're just going to look as well. You might already have some friends too. Look, I haven't even done anything. People have just added me. So I also want to mention that other people can't see your circles. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Other people cannot see your circles. So they can't see if you've put them in friends, family, acquaintances, or following. So let's say you have someone who's not kind of a friend, but really more of an acquaintance, and you don't really want them to know what you consider them. Maybe you consider them more of an acquaintance, right? But you don't want that to be an insult to them. So it doesn't matter. They can't see what circle you put them in. That's all behind the curtain. All right, so let's go back to the main page of people, and it's going to basically just take us to find people. And I want to talk slightly about this. Just give me 1 second because I'm pulling up some notes on this section that I wrote for this. All right. So how do we get followers? Well, this is going to be a general point of view for all social media, right? How do we get followers? Well, in order to be followed, you must follow others. And you know, that's the name of the social media game. And basically another, like an unwritten rule for social media, you know, is the follow back rule. So, or the follow back etiquette, right? If someone follows you, then you follow them back, as long as they don't look like some kind of a spam account, or if it's someone that you dislike in some way. And that's just generally how it's supposed to work. Now, not everyone's going to go ahead and follow along with that, but the only way for you to get followers back is to follow people. So number 1, I've got a bunch of suggestions here. People I might know. I know almost everyone in this top row, I would say. So Google Plus is pretty good with this, right? And what I want to do is I just want to start hitting add. And you just go ahead and hit, I just hit go with the, you know, friends. Okay, we're friends. Friends, right? So just start going through those and adding those. As many as you can. All right, then we've got some other suggestions on how to find friends. We can add people from your contacts, or we can find, you know, past schools we've gone to. They kind of just mix that in there to make it look cool. So let's see, anything else we want to go in over this? So basically we want to add as many people as you want to, but the more that you add, the more likely that they are to add you back. So let's go ahead and look at some other parts. People that have added me, right? These are people I haven't responded to. I don't have to go through each of these and hit add and add to a certain thing. I just hit add all to friends. Bam. Immediately added all those people as my friends. That's great. And then we want to go into, let's see. If I hit REMAX, look at all these people at REMAX. I can just go through and add all these people. And I would. That's what I would do if I was you guys. I would just start adding everyone. And then other options for searching people, right? As you go into Discover, or not Discover, I apologize. Find people. Search for anyone. So I can search by city, school, company, right? Why don't I just go Santa Clarita, California? Boom. Hit that. Go into their circles, right? So we have a bunch of 7 people here. Have them in their circles. Here's a bunch of people, right, that have Santa Clarita in their circles. So there's more options here. By going to, Santa Clarita's page. Let's go back again. Just double checking my notes here to make sure I'm not missing anything out. So let's see about communities. If I go into here and I go into, I'm sorry, we're going to leave the friends page. Basically what you want to do on here, right, is add as many people as possible. You've got suggestions. You've got people who may or may not have added you already if you've had your Gmail account for a while. You've got the contacts in your Gmail you can add. Bam, bam, bam. Why don't we just add Connor real quick, and I'll add Dave, and then I'll add Steve and Colin. And then we'll bounce out, find coworkers, classmates, connected services. You can just do that by searches. And then searching by city, right, was our last and final thing that we looked at. Now let's go into the upper left-hand corner to our Google Plus menu again, quote unquote menu. And then in this section, we have communities. So let's click on communities and discover communities. Well, let's see what we got in here. Look at that, guys. We've got some communities. What this is basically a group of people who want to talk about a certain subject. So we've got 20. We've got a divorce thing. Okay, we can skip that one because that has nothing to do with what we're doing. Living in Santa Clarita, 40 members. That's cool. Santa Clarita 411, 5 members. Santa Clarita running. Santa Clarita, Santa Clarita, Santa Clarita. So join these circles. Pop on in them. Join. Let's see. Join. Notice how other people are taking images, classic Santa Clarita images off Google search and using them as their background, right? A couple of them there. Let's go ahead and try Valencia. Sorry, let's try Valencia, California. Okay, nothing on here really. So Santa Clarita, we had a couple communities, a couple things in there for that. If you just search, look who's showing up: Leslie, Connor, right? If you just search Santa Clarita. So I just want to, you're probably thinking like, well, why do I need like other real estate agents, as friends of mine on Google Plus? Well, you know what? Your profile will have more traction in terms of SEO and link building. Link building is basically what there's inbound links to your website that helps SEO, and there's links from your website that go to other content of yours that's outbound linking that helps your SEO. But Google Plus is fantastic for SEO, so that's why we're utilizing Google Plus. And so if we can get more friends, we want more friends. That's the idea in here, right? Because I want the best SEO that I can possibly get from Google Plus. So that's what we have to do, is go through and add all this. All right, so let's go back into our homepage. I want to jump into Hootsuite real quick and talk a little bit about how do we get the account hooked up on here. So let's go into Hootsuite. Let's log in real quick. And let's go into here. I want to go into add a social network. Add a social network. This is all over Hootsuite. So if you just get into your homepage, right, you can add a stream or add a social network right here. Add a social network. But over in the left-hand corner, you go to your name, and then you go to add a social network, and then you go to Google Plus right here. You just, if you're logged into your Google Plus already, hit connect with Google Plus, and it just asks you right away, would you like to, connect into here? And then bam, you have it hooked up. And then we can go into publisher. On the left-hand side here, let me go a little bit slower. This is where we hooked up the account. Okay, you went to your name and handled that. Then if you go down to publisher, we're going to compose a message and then we're going to choose where on the left-hand side where it says send to, that Google Plus profile will be in there. Now what you can do is you can click on both your Facebook. You can click on, let's just search REMAX, SCV. Let's just go REMAX, bam. I can choose my Google Plus profile, which is this little like colored square. And then I can choose my Facebook page, right? And I can have both of those on there, and I can just go, this is my post for the day. And then let's go over this one more time, copying a link for that, whatever that post is. You hit that, you shrink that up, right? You jump down, you do your hashtags, SEV, hashtag Valencia. You'd pop in, the name of your website, agent.com. And then you do, if you want to, a link to your Google Plus profile, maybe at the way bottom, or maybe like right next to, with a bar here, your Google Plus profile. This is my post for the day, blah, 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 agent.com, Google Plus profile, hashtags, and then we attach an image or a file, right? Whatever we want that to be for the image on there. Go into scheduling, and you schedule the date and the time, hit schedule, and on that date and time, this post will go to both Facebook and Google Plus automatically for you. You don't have to log into both and do it on both. So this is the huge time saver. If you haven't watched the scheduling class yet, you need to go and watch that. That is like by far the best tool that you can have in terms of managing all your social media, is a scheduler. So if you haven't seen that class, please go and check that out. That is going to be our main overview of Google Plus. We talked about linking back to Google Plus. You want to always have a link to your Google Plus on your website as well, right? So in the top right-hand corner of whatever, let's just go to a random website. Why don't we just go to, why don't we search SCV agents? SCV agents. I would hope that they have a Google Plus link in the top right-hand corner. Bam. Well done, guys. So we have Twitter, Facebook, and then we have a Google Plus link right here. Let's see if anyone else is utilizing this correctly. What do we got? Realtor.com. This is going to be different. It's going to be different. Let's go back. Well, we know we're doing it on here because this is my doing. In the top right-hand corner, look at all the links we've got here. So that's amazing. So we got the Google Plus link right here. That's building SEO consistently. Why? Because I'm consistently posting to Google Plus. This has a link back to our Google Plus, and that's creating like a circle of trust for Google, and our content will show up in search rank better. Thus, what did I search? SCV agents. I searched SCV agents, and REMAX of Valencia came up right away. So there you go, proof right there that that's working. And then we went over how to find friends, right? You went into your people section and found friends that way, into your profile, and made sure all of your profile is fully filled out. Why? Because on Google, your profile is going to show up to people when they search your name, and it's probably going to show up right at the top. So you want to make sure that all that's filled out correctly. You have the right headshot in there. You have, let's go into that real quick. You have the right headshot in this section. You have the right banner profile set up. You have all of your, click on about right here, all of your about section filled out. You've got links to your other social media profiles. You've got wherever else you're posting content to, which may be some of your social media profiles. Feel free to put those in there twice. We've got all that information here. We've got your occupation, got your area, and yes, so we've got all that set up. Another thing that you might want to do is set up a page for your business. And the way that you do that is you go into pages, and look, I've got REMAX's page, right? Look at all the followers they have. And when was the last post? Yesterday. So what you want to do is you want to click on Get Your Page, and you want to talk about a service area, right? For a real estate agent, you want to click on service area. You're going to enter the address of wherever you are operating from, whatever location. And then you're going to go ahead and follow through all those steps. And then eventually what you're going to do is you're going to end up right back on, let's click on this REMAX page, a page that looks super similar to your the last page that you did, to your personal profile. And you're going to be adding friends and the same way. You can be adding friends and followers the same way. You've got a link to your website every time in here. Look, right here we have a little a tagline that's also in the about section. So this one's super simple to follow through, that, and you can go ahead and just once you get to that page we just looked at 2 seconds ago, Get Your Page. Super straightforward. It'll follow you right through, and then you're just going to want to follow all the tips that I just walked you through on your personal profile, but with this page, right? And that's how that's done, guys. So if you guys have any questions about Google Plus, please rewatch the episode first, or the stream if there's something that you missed, because I do go fairly quickly, and that is because we repost the video every time. So if you do, though, you guys have the email in which I sent out for the link for the class today. Please feel free to email that. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can with any help on this subject. And guys, I really appreciate you watching today, and we will see you next week.